this one tip could take your mandolin playing and sound to the next level. It is super easy, something that you can easily incorporate into your picking technique to elevate your sound and to let the tone of your mandolin shine through a little bit more. If you are a beginner to the mandolin, or maybe you're coming to the mandolin from another instrument such as the guitar or the violin, well, you need to know that the way that we use the pick in mandolin is a little bit different than the way that it is used in any other instrument. So if you want your playing to be bright and open like this, and not muted and stifled like this, then stick with me to the end of this video and don't forget to hit that like button down below. We're going to start with a little overview of how I hold my pick. So you're going to put out your hand like you're shaking someone else's hand. You're going to fold these fingers in. We're keeping them relaxed. We're not clenching them together. We're keeping them relaxed. We're going to take our pick. I use a thick triangular pick. Mine is a blue chip pick. Any sort of pick that has this shape will do. You're going to take it and you're going to put the middle of the pick right here on this joint of our finger. So I'm going to take the pick, put it right there, kind of in the middle. My thumb is going to go right on top of that. And I have a little bit of the pick sticking out below and a little bit of the pick sticking out above. So you can kind of maneuver that to where it feels comfortable, but that is the way that I hold my pick. Moving on to how we actually pick. So I like to rest this part of my hand right here, right behind the bridge of the mandolin. That's my home base. This is my anchor point, and all of my picking comes from my wrist right here with this motion. Now, if you want to have a little bit more of a floating approach, where your anchor is back here on the body of the mandolin and your wrist moves a little bit behind the bridge as you're playing, that is totally fine. Either way, you want to make sure that you have flexibility here in your wrist and in your arm. Everything's nice and loose. Okay, now we're getting on to the actual tip. So what I see a lot of the time in my students and in other mandolin players, especially beginners, is that when they're playing a note, so if we take the first couple notes of Angeline the Baker, when they pick, they're not actually moving the pick that much. They're not moving their hand that much. They are barely hitting the string. And what happens is that when you do that, when your pick is not moving, when you don't give it any room to move, any room to breathe, when you strike the note and then come right back to the string for the next note, you end up muting the sound, choking off the sound of that string ringing out, which is what we want. And so the notes end up becoming muted, becoming stifled by the pick that is just choking off the vibration of those strings. The way to fix this and the way to open up your sound a lot more is to think about using your wrist. Now, I know we think that that might take more energy, that it seems like that's not going to help you play fast because you're using wider motions, but actually this makes your tone come out so much more, makes the sound open and bright, which is exactly what we want. We want the notes to be able to ring out. So when we play, you want to move your hand. Your hand is not frozen. It's not frozen here. You're not just barely hitting this string with as little energy as possible. Moving your wrist and giving the time, the note, the time that it needs to ring out is very beneficial. So as you can see, when I'm playing these notes, my wrist is moving quite a bit after I play each note. And this isn't just for downstrokes, It is a little bit easier on the downstrokes to follow through with your note. So we're plucking the string, we're moving our wrist down after we've already plucked the string. But we got to do the same thing on our upstrokes. And upstrokes are a little bit harder with this concept. Following through, up, but equally as important. And it might seem like it's a little bit harder to control what strings, what notes your pick is hitting when your hand is moving so much, but it's actually going to open up your sound a lot more, and it might just take some getting used to. I mean, whenever we're working on new techniques, we're adding tips into our playing to hopefully better ourselves, better our playing. It's gonna take time, it's gonna take practice. You know, you can't expect to practice it one time and then all of a sudden your mandolin playing is so much better. Yes, this is an easy tip, but it's something that you have to think about and you have to put effort into as you're practicing day after day after day. So here is a D major scale when I'm thinking about opening my wrist, giving the string room to vibrate. And then when I'm not thinking about that and I'm not moving my pick much. Hopefully you can hear the difference between the two, right? It's a slight difference, but one is muted, one is stifled, one is open, and the notes are ringing out more. And I can do this fast as well. It's not just at a slower speed that this tip applies. It actually applies pretty much anytime you're playing the mandolin. It's crazy how one little change can make such a difference in the sound of your mandolin, and it's something that is pretty easy to incorporate as long as you are just thinking about moving your hand, giving the string room to vibrate. And also you might notice that it makes the sound louder. In mandolin, if we want to make something louder, we actually increase the width of our pick motion in order to make the sound louder. So that is also a bonus, that when you are doing this, your sound is automatically louder. And yes, you can back that up a little bit if you're wanting to have a softer sound, but we still want to make sure that we're giving the string room to vibrate so that it sounds open and we're hearing all of the notes, we're hearing the tone of the mandolin shine through. So there you go, one easy tip that you can add into your mandolin playing, and I hope this helps. I hope you can hear the difference in your sound and record yourself. Record yourself playing after you've started thinking about adding this into your playing and see what a difference it makes. It's always so helpful when we can go back and listen to recordings of ourselves, because sometimes it's harder to hear the difference when you're the one actually playing, but when you're just sitting there listening to it, it's a lot easier to spot. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe down below for content like this every single week, and I will see you guys in my next video.